Hey guys, today I want to talk about why do some expats in the Philippines end up homeless? And this can happen almost anywhere that you go. And I want to talk about some of the main reasons why a lot of expats end up homeless or they end up having financial problems or whatever. We're gonna try to talk about all these different ways that you can become a problem here in the Philippines financially, and we're going to talk at the very end how to resolve it if it ever happens to you. And hopefully this kind of fills you in as to what can happen to you as an expat that'll make you become homeless or lose your money or whatever, or be penniless all of a sudden. And really listen to this here, because there's a lot of things there. As we age, we tend to forget to do things and stuff like that. I'm going to get into all of this. The first one, one of the biggest ways over here for people to have problems is Social Security. Social Security, whether you're in the United States or you're in another country, if Social Security sends out a proof, I call it a proof of life, form for you to fill out. Now, in each country it has a different form name or whatever, but they send this form out for you to fill out and get it notarized, okay? Now, some countries, like the Philippines here, some of the attorneys will not notarize it. They just will not notarize it. They refuse to notarize it. They say, we will not notarize a U.S. Document. So what they'll do is they'll fill out another form for you. It's very similar, and it'll suffice as that. And it's basically a proof of life form that the lawyer will write out. You sign it, and he is a witness that you're alive and in front of him and all that stuff. And it works just fine if you run into that problem. Here's the thing. Other places send that proof of life form out too, and you might not get it. So if you don't get it, they're going to cut you off at some point. The same with Social Security. But these other places send you out proof of life forms too. Same thing. You need to prove that you're alive. And I sent them back a form for the municipality that I worked for back home, and that sufficed for the retirement board back there. So you just need to fill out a form. You could go to the embassy probably and get it notarized there, but it can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Sometimes if you're far away from the embassy, nobody wants to take a flight from Cebu or Mindanao or something like that just to get something notarized up here. Ask them if you go to an attorney and he makes a proof of life form in a Filipino version, will that work? You can ask your municipality or your Social Security people in your country or whatever, and usually they'll say, yes, that's acceptable, that's okay. If not, then you're going to have to go to the embassy and get it notarized there, okay? Or it has to be certified or notarized or whatever. Usually the embassies will have some sort of certification that, yeah, Steve's right in front of me, or Bob's in front of me, he's alive and he's well. Now, there's other ways that you can go broke here too. And we actually dealt with this with a fella here when I first came here. This guy here, his wife kicked him out of the house. He was homeless, living in a vehicle. We almost were going to send him home at one point. We were going to do like a proof of life. Not a proof of life. What do they call it? A repatriation loan. We're going to do a repatriation loan with him, to try to help him out. And then what happened was, I asked him if he had Social Security. He says, no, I didn't have enough quarters. So I asked him, I says, well, do me a favor. Did you work at all in the United States? He says, but I always worked under the table except for a few small jobs. He says, but I don't think I got 10 years in or 40 quarters. And I said, well, let's go look. Come to find out, he did. He ended up getting $525. So, and he was broke. So keep that in mind. $525 for this guy was a lot. He didn't want to go home because he would have been homeless living on that. So he wanted to stay here. He ended up getting some help with some other stuff. He had something else that came through for him, and he ended up having like around $2,000 a month. So he did really, really well. And this guy here, between everything, that's more than enough. He was in the sweet spot by the time we were done, and that was from penniless to having some money. Now, a lot of guys over here, we recently had a guy from the UK over here. One of the other vloggers were vlogging about it. They helped him. They helped send him back home. Some people start aging out. They shouldn't be here because they have nobody helping them. They're living alone in the Philippines. They're living off of whatever they have, and then all of a sudden they find themselves homeless because their Social Security got cut off. They don't have a way to call back home and fix it or whatever. They don't have money to do that. They don't have any money saved for emergencies, or their minds start getting dementia or memory loss or Alzheimer's or something like that, or Parkinson's dementia. These are the issues that most Americans don't think about over here. That the things that could happen to you, especially if you're alone over here. If you don't have somebody looking after you, like a wife or a girlfriend, and who to call when these things happen, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle. You need to have somebody taking care of you and some money. And they a girl that's very frugal is worth $1 million over here. I'm telling you, because a lot of these girls over here will spend a lot of money. If you go with these younger girls and you're older, they're basically after this. They'll stay with you as long as the money train's going, and there are girls over here that are really faithful and really decent girls too. But be careful, because that's another reason why a lot of guys end up penniless over here. They come over here and they invest in these girls. They put a lot of money in these girls. They say, well, this is my last hurrah. And they live longer than what they thought that they were going to live. And all of a sudden they find themselves broke with no money, nothing, and that's the worst thing you can do over here, is come over here and just blow all your money. Don't spend all your money like that. If you're in that $2,000 to $3,000 range, you should be able to save some of that money, allocate it for your 70s or whatever. And when I say budget, I'm talking about all your income. Some people say, well, the budget is what you need to live. I agree, that's true. When I talk about a budget, I talk about everything that's coming into the household, okay? Because that's what you got to spend. Where is that going to get allocated? Where are you going to budget that to? Okay? I'm not talking about your living expenses budget. That's totally different. I'm talking about your full budget. How are you budgeting that $4,000, that $3,000, or $2,000, or $1,500 that you have coming in each month? Where is it going? These are things that you've got to be on top of to make sure that you're safe. Okay? And over here, that's the biggest thing that makes people go broke over here, is people just are not safe with their money. If there's one thing around here that you need to be safe with, is that. And also have an emergency credit card with maybe $5,000 on it, and have some money like that emergency fund. A $10,000 emergency fund should be the smallest emergency fund you have. Never mind smaller than that. $10,000, because if you go home, you're going to need a place to stay for a little while. God forbid anything happens to you. You need that. You could use that for medical emergency money, because even if you have insurance over here, if you have Pacific Cross, there's going to be some incidental costs that you have to pay. You're going to have to pay for food probably, and maybe some things that they don't cover or whatever. Be really careful. Pay attention. These are all the things that cause people problems over here and make people go broke, especially the medical one and the Social Security proof of life forms. Remember, those are key. I always ask. Now, I have my sister. She's the one who gets my mail back in the States. But I always ask, did I get anything through the mail for proof of life or anything like that? And she'll always tell me, yes, you got this form. She'll send it to me, and then I go out to the attorney. He puts it onto another form, the Filipino version of it. I send it in, or I can send it by email or whatever to them, and then they say, Steve, you're all right, you're good. And I'm like, okay, just as long as we're all good here, and I'm safe. Now, if you ever find yourself in the Philippines penniless, and you ever find yourself in big trouble, you need to get home fast. The way to do it is go in and get a repatriation loan. They're going to call 3 people. Doesn't matter who they are. If they all say that they can't help you, then you're going to get the repatriation loan. It doesn't have to be family members or whatever. They usually call three people. And you usually go to window 1. That's the way it was a few years back. It might be someplace else now after COVID. I'm not sure, but you just go in there and tell them, say, hey, look, I'm looking for a repatriation loan. I don't know about the Australian embassies and UK and all these other countries, so you'd have to go into your embassy and find out about that. But I do know in the U.S. embassy here in Manila, it's always been window 1. Now, that could have changed, but you just ask the guard, where do you go to get a repatriation loan, or ask around. Or you can just go up to window 1 itself and ask, say, do you guys do the repatriation loans here? I'm having a problem. They can usually get you out of here pretty quickly. If you lost your passport or something like that, talk to them there. They're usually really good to help you. You may want to always carry a copy of your passport on you, or I have one of those passport cards. It's not really a passport, but it proves that you're a citizen of the U.S. That's key. You know, a lot of people don't think about that. That little passport card that the United States offers you when you get your passport is well worth getting, even though it's no good from the Philippines. It's good as a ID. So if something happens to you, you can go into the U.S. Embassy and say, look, I'm an American citizen. This is my passport card. I lost my regular passport. Can I get another passport? And you'll be all set. Be careful, guys. You know, be careful of being scammed. You know, maybe you have some, you know, it could happen that somebody broke into your house and stole all your stuff. You suddenly don't have anything. You don't have a way to contact the U.S. because your computer broke or it got stolen. It happens. You know, things happen here in the Philippines, and I've seen some crazy stuff happen to some people over here. Always be aware that something could happen. Have some money stashed somewhere in your house. Have a credit card stashed in your house somewhere, or have in a safe. If you can get a big safe in your house, put a big safe in your house. Whatever you need, always be prepared. You know, it's the Cub Scout motto: be prepared. You know, whatever it is. You know, just you got to be ready over here, guys, because I've seen people over here. Like I said, that guy that I helped out get his Social Security. I saw him, and he had no money. He had literally no money. People were helping him. People were putting him up that I knew. They said they'd take him in and stuff like that, and they put him up in a house that they weren't staying in at the time. They told him he could stay there. And, you know, thank God that these people showed up and helped him, because otherwise he would have been living out of his van. And eventually the money would have ran out to the point where he had no gas, and he didn't have much gas. So he couldn't be moving around much. He had to be very careful, because he was basically, you know, broke. He would have came to the point where he would have had to start begging for money or what have you. And nobody wants to get to that point. That's why I say, guys, play it safe. If there's one piece of advice that I can give you is play it safe, have an emergency fund. The other one is make sure you have your health insurance. I always say that, some sort of health insurance. If you do want to go for Pacific Cross, and I'm not advertising this because I don't get paid for this. I tell people, call Michael Onstad, Onstad. He has all different types of insurance plans, and they're all decent insurance plans, and they pay the hospital direct if it's affiliated with Pacific Cross. So that's the other thing. And guys, don't ever forget about window 1. If you're from the U.S., you can get your repatriation loan. Okay? God bless, guys. Take care. I hope this helps you guys. And always keep this. This is an expat tool to keep in the back of your mind always. You know, window 1, if there's an emergency and you don't have a way to get home, they'll help you. God bless, guys. Take care.